I genuinely do believe that the media south of Tyneside during this transfer window have completely lost the plot more than any other stage since I've started doing this channel. Nick Pope has also come out with comments about his Newcastle United future, and Alexander Isak is up for the Player of the Year award. So let's take a look. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Toon Review. My name's Paul. This is your latest Newcastle United news. We will start off with the good old media. Some of the stories and comments that I've been reading this morning have been absolutely comical. And like I said in the intro there, I genuinely feel like the reporters have lost the plot. And this isn't the Northeast journalists, by the way, who I've got a lot of respect for. This is sort of south of Tyneside. And it's all to do mainly with Alexander Isak, the comments I've read this morning. I've just picked a couple out to show you guys because there's more than these. There's hundreds there this morning claiming that the Newcastle United coaches have been talking. Isak himself says he's best mates with Odegaard, so that swings the transfer in Arsenal's favour. There's no transfer. You know, I'm pretty confident sitting here this morning that we're not going to lose Isak. This is a lot of talk, a lot of background talk from the media, pushing this rhetoric of Arne Slot being a big fan of Isak, and this huge British record transfer bid is about to come in. Even if they do make a bid for Isak, I don't see Newcastle accepting it at all. Now, Isak himself, you know, he's said many, many times at the end of the season that he's happy at Newcastle. He loves it here. He can't wait to play in the Champions League again. But then suddenly the reports kick in that Isak is a boyhood Liverpool fan. He really wants to play for them. And this is all coming from down there, by the way. Nothing up here about Isak's comments saying about being a Liverpool fan or any other trash like that. But the one I want to start with is regarding the Newcastle coaches, because this is really bizarre. Apparently somebody has picked up on it that the Newcastle United coaches in a meeting said that Alexander Isak needs to be stimulated to keep him going, i.e. they need to push him all the time to keep him going, and that sometimes his concentration falls off a cliff and things like that, and he doesn't listen properly in training. Who the hell has picked up on this? And where did they get the information from? I have to say, by the way, this isn't any Northeast media commenting on this. This is actually from the Liverpool Echo. Believe it or not. The Liverpool Echo, who are again pushing the rhetoric to try and sign Isak for Liverpool. I don't understand how anyone has gained access to what the Newcastle coaches have been discussing in a meeting. And this is the bizarre thing. You know, I'm sure these reporters now are basically just completely baffled by Newcastle United, baffled by any news going on right now, and are starting to sort of fish around and count to 2 and 2 and get 7. We all know as Newcastle United fans what the chairman and what everybody else at the club has said about Isak and the valuation on Isak. Liverpool, I don't think, can afford Isak. There's a starter for you. I don't think they can, because the signings they've made already, questions would have to be asked if they, somehow find another 150 million quid to get Isak. But the problem I've got is I'm reading this morning that, you know, Newcastle may come down on the price a little bit if we sign another striker. Well, why would we do that as well? Why would Newcastle United think, we've got another striker, so we'll drop the price down for Liverpool and value him at a less amount? How crazy is that? It's absolutely bizarre. It boggles the mind. It really does boggle the mind as to where this reporter has got the information from that Newcastle United have held coaching talks between themselves, but this has come out about Isak. You can see the direction that the media are going in to try and push everything to unsettle the player. Now, another one. This was in the Mirror, and it says, Isak's been speaking about his time with Martin Odegaard at Real Sociedad. And he said, we have a very good contact and thrive well together. He is natural that he will be my best friend on the team. He was well known as a cult to have him on the same. Now, I'm not quite sure what the hell that means, to be honest, but all of a sudden, the headline states that because he's best mates with Odegaard, or he's got a good friendship with Odegaard, Isak will now go to Arsenal. It's absolutely mental. I'm sitting here this morning, guys, and I'm reading all these reports, laughing my chuffing head off, because it's just now so far-fetched. It is getting out of control, and you can see the Southern media pushing for the cartel clubs to sign all these players and push a real rhetoric to get this done. Despite Newcastle United not selling him, despite Newcastle United saying, there's your valuation, despite our chairman saying that he's going nowhere. But the press don't listen to anything that comes from Newcastle. They just listen to what's going on in their own heads, or they'll pick up on a quote or something like that. I mean, Gordon Bennett, Callum Wilson was best mates with Antonio at West Ham, but was he ever linked? No. Footballers have got friends that play for other teams. That's just how it works. But to say that he's going to go to Arsenal now because he's good friends with Odegaard, they're trying everything they can to upset the apple cart at Newcastle United. And I hope really that Newcastle United, especially Eddie Howe and his team, just look at these, they probably don't actually even bother looking at these this load of bollocks and just laugh. Because I think Newcastle United, we want to go in a different direction to all of these reports. We want to keep Isak. We want to keep the main spine of the squad there for next season. And then we're going to add to it whenever that may be. We're going to add to it and hopefully, challenge these teams around us. One other comment which I had to really laugh at this morning was our good old friend Rio Ferdinand, guys. And we all know what the tosh that Rio Ferdinand talks. He's come out and said that out of the list of Premier League's healthiest PSR clubs, Rio Ferdinand claims that Newcastle United only have, get this, £8 million to spend in this transfer window. 8 million quid. I mean, bloody hell, there's teams in League 2 can afford to pay 8 million quid for a player. Well, or League 1, but Jesus, wet man, come on. I mean, he just wants to throw his name into everything negative about Newcastle United. This guy has no clue at all. And genuinely, based on what I've seen this morning, nobody knows. Nobody has a clue what is going on with anybody. And you know what? It just... I'm doing the video on them this morning because it's funny. It's actually funny. This isn't a rant or a rage at the media. This is just calling them out and embarrassing them, because these things like that are embarrassing. They're embarrassing for these reporters to come out with. But like I say, they've got nothing because Newcastle United haven't said anything about anybody yet. Nobody going out, nobody coming in. They're just keeping the business to themselves, and the media have nothing to do but put up garbage like this on a daily basis. And it's crazy. Let me know what you think. I mean, the three I've quoted there, believe me, there's so many more online this morning. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, let's move on to Nick Pope, because Nick Pope has been talking about his future at Newcastle United, and he has made it clear that he does not want to leave the football club. Now, of course, Pope has been linked with Leeds or a possible return to Burnley, depending on what happens with James Trafford. But Nick Pope has made it clear that he wants to stay at the club and fight for his place. And I think that's fantastic, actually. I really do, because Nick Pope, did so well for us at the back end of last season. Everybody was raging about Dubravka being dropped, me included. I thought it was very harsh. But Pope came in and did a job. He was fantastic in the cup final, and he made some fantastic saves towards the end of the season, which no doubt contributed to us finishing where we did and getting into the Champions League. So, you know what? Nick Pope's not one of them players that I look at and think, oh, he's got to go, he's got to go. If Leeds came in with an offer or something happened with the James Trafford transfer, whether Nick Pope would be involved in a return to Burnley, I wouldn't mind that either. But at the same time, I think there's other goalkeepers at the club who we need to look at more and focus on more to leave and get off the wage bill. You've got Vlachodimos there. You've got Ruddy there. Ruddy's expected to leave now. Obviously, he was on that list, wasn't he? But then you've got Dubravka, who seems to be all over the place at the moment, again, with his future, what is going to happen. There's a World Cup year. Dubravka, is pretty confident his country is going to reach the World Cup. He wants to be the goalkeeper, and you can understand that. And it was reported a couple of days ago that he wanted to have, it was put in the press as showdown talks with Eddie Howe, although I don't think it's showdown talks. He just wants to know about his future, and if he's not guaranteed any football next season, if we do bring in another goalkeeper, then you can understand Dubravka going. But Nick Pope still feels like he's got a lot to offer. He feels like he's got if James Trafford did come in, would it be good for Trafford to work alongside Pope for a season? Eddie keeps commenting on what a fantastic professional Nick Pope is. Could James Trafford maybe learn off Nick Pope for a year or so, and then Pope leaves the club after the end of next season, when Trafford then takes over as the number one for years to come? But the James Trafford deal's gone really quiet, to be honest, hasn't it? Because of the money that Burnley are asking, because they've got a sell-on fee to pay Man City. So obviously Burnley themselves are going to want more money for Trafford. It's all still up in the air. There's nothing going on right now. Absolutely nothing. The João Pedro situation is at a standstill. Are Chelsea in form, or are Newcastle United working behind the scenes to get that deal done? This could be one that we, don't hear about until the club actually announce it. This could be the deal that we've been waiting for to start things rolling. But again, I don't think that we are going to make any signings until around the PSR deadline, when we find out which clubs are willing to sell certain players to be under the restrictions. And of course, from the 1st of July as well. I believe early July we'll make signings. So there's no panic here. I still think everything will happen in due course. Disappointed we missed out on a couple of players that I would love to see play for the club, of course, but it's nothing like that. And I think Nick Pope has just turned around and said, right, I want to be here. I want to be part of this Champions League journey again. And I don't blame Nick Pope for that at all. But with João Pedro, are we talking to him? Chelsea, the stories are around again today. I'm not going to go into them about Chelsea again, because they just swoop for whoever they want. They really do. Goldbridge came out with a really funny thing yesterday when he said he went to pick up a kettle that he'd ordered 2 weeks ago, and he got to the front of the queue, and Todd Bowley swooped in and nicked the kettle. It is just like that. They are mentioned with every single player in the world. But hopefully we get João Pedro. I still love to see João Pedro at Newcastle United. He'll give us lots of really good options, certainly for system-wise and talent as well. He's a very good player. Now, Alexander Isak is up for PFA Player of the Year. This is a very prestigious award. And look, Isak, for me, deserves it. He's been fantastic this season. He's got a lot of people to battle against, to be honest. It's not going to be easy for him to win this. But, listen, we know what Isak did. Yes, he had a quiet last few games of the season, but I think that was simply because he was knackered. He was completely knackered. We used him so much last season because of whatever it may be, that we didn't have the striking quality to replace him, and he was playing in a lot of games that maybe the rotation wasn't there for Eddie, and he was knackered by the end of the season. But the goals he scored for us undoubtedly catapulted us up the league, undoubtedly gave us the opportunity to play in the Champions League next season. So, look, the usual names are there. You've got the likes of Salah, etc. in that list. So it is going to be difficult for him, because we know how they like to vote for the cartel clubs. But we will see how that develops. But it's just fantastic that a Newcastle United player is in for PFA Player of the Year. Finally, I want to do the... I suppose I have to, because it's there. Newcastle United, who have been linked with Marcus Rashford. Now, everybody will turn away and say, you're on 300 odd grand a week and blah, blah, blah. However, it's not a full transfer. Newcastle United are now linked with him on loan, because Manchester United want to offload Marcus Rashford, but there's nobody willing to pay his wages. And a transfer fee and crazy wages like that. He's got 3 years still left at Manchester United on the contract there. So there's no way nobody is going to take over those sort of figures for salary. No way. Because his form had dropped. He came back for Villa. He did well for Villa last season, it's fair to say. And, we've spoke about loan deals in the past and thought, is it a big risk? if we can sort out something with Manchester United regarding wages, where we're paying a lot less than the 325 grand a week that he's reported on, would it be a bad signing on loan? Because the risk factor just isn't there when you've got a player on loan like that. Or do you question his attitude and think, well, if he comes in on loan, is he going to be fully committed to the club? Is he going to be wanting to perform? But you have to remember as well, it's a World Cup year. And Marcus Rashford will want to be at the World Cup. So he will want to perform, whether it's just for his own needs, but that will also help the team. So is that an option for Eddie Howe to go down the route of Marcus Rashford on loan if we can sort something out with the wages? Because that is the stumbling block. No way do I feel like he is worth 325 grand a week, by the way. Not the way he's fell off a cliff. So it could be an option, but only on loan. But let me know what you think about it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, please do hit that thumbs up button. And of course, if you are new and you like what you see, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. But don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. We're back tonight if you're watching this on Friday, 7 o'clock, TTR Friday, of course. We'll have a good laugh, good crack, as it always is on a Friday night. Start your weekend the right way. We'll look back at all the weekly Newcastle United news, have a good chat about that as well. So make sure you join us at 7 o'clock for that. And also check the website out, thetoonreview.com, for all your channel merchandise. And finally, remember, please keep voting for us in the Football Content Awards. Best Content Creator - Premier League is the one you need to tick. Best Content Creator - Premier League. That's the one you need to look for, guys. But thank you very much for watching. We'll see you very soon. Take care.